do suggest you make all inquiries direct with the local council. Thank you for your question. Any further questions? Yes, sir. No, sir, I certainly don't. And again, if the council have suggested to you it may or may not be possible, I do suggest you take that into careful consideration if bidding today. Good luck with your bidding, sir. Any further questions? No questions? Well, we'll get bidding underway. Don't care where we start, ladies and gentlemen. We've been quoting well clear of $1 million over the past 3 weeks or so. Clearly, with the interest we have here today, we're going to exceed that value. Don't care where we started. We've got, say, $1 million to go anywhere in the field at $1 million. At $1 million anywhere in the field. You start it away if you prefer. Thank you, sir. I didn't quite see it, but it's over here somewhere at 900. We'll take that, sir. At $900, at 900,000, we'll take a quick $50,000 rise anywhere in the field. At $900,000, bid and offered over here. At 900,000, we have. At 900,000, bid and offered over here on the right-hand side. At 900,000, take a quick 50 anywhere in the field. At 900,000. At 900,000, we're away. At 900,000, we have. So we'll take 50 from here. At 900,000. At 900,000, we have. At 900,000 on the right. At 900,000. Gee, it's quiet. No one wants to bid when it's cheap. So we'll take 50. Take 50. Can we take a 50 from you? At 900,000, we have on the right. A quick 50. 50 away. Welcome to the bidding, sir, at 950,000. At 950,000 on my left against you, sir. At 950 we have. At 950 on my left-hand side. At 950. At 950, $1 million back in. At $1 million over here, it's against you, sir. At $1 million we have. At $1 million over here. At $1 million against you, sir. At $1 million. At $1 million we have. At $1 million. At $1 million we have. We'll take that, sir, at $1.05 million. At $1,050,000, at $1,050,000 over here, at 1 1, at 1,100,000 over here, at 1,100,000, at 1,100,000. We'll take 25s now, sir, if it helps. At 100,000, at 100,000 with the 1 in front. 25, sir. So we won't be disclosing the reserve here today. Look, it's so tough to get bidding at the best of times, so I won't be declaring on the market on the property. I do suggest, though, you do get into some good, strong, competitive bidding. And I again wish you all the very best with your bidding. At $1,100,000, we're way over here. At $1,100,000. At $1,100,000. At $1,200,000, vendor bid with me. At $1,200,000, vendor bid with me. At $1,200,000. At $1,200,000 with me. We'll take a quick $50,000 rise anywhere in the field. At $1,200,000. At $1,200,000, we'll take that now, sir. At $210,220 with a 1 in front. At $220,000. At $220,000, dropping the 1 now, $230,000. At $230,40 back in. At $240,000. At $250,000. At $250,000 with a 1 in front. At $250,000. At $1,250,000. Yes, sir. So we're at $1,250,000 here in front. At $1,250,000 here in front. We'll take $1,300,000. At $1,250,000. $1,250,000 here in front. It certainly is, sir. What can I encourage you into $1,300,000? At $1,250,000 we have it's against you, sir. $1,300,000? At $1,300,000 we have? At $1,300,000. Welcome to the bidding, sir, at $1,300,000. At $1,300,000. At $1,300,000 we have it's against you, $310,000. At $1,310,000. At $320,000. At $320,000. With a 1 in front at $320,000, $330,000. At $330,000 we have. At $330,000 back in, sir, $340,000. At $340,000 with a 1 in front. At $340,000 with a 1 in front. At $1,340,000 we have. At $1,340,000. One quick 10, sir. At $1,340,000 we have. At $1,340,000 and 50 back in. At $1,350,000. At 60. At $360,000 we have. At $360,000 with the starter. At $360,000 we have. At $360,000 against you, sir, and against you. At $1,360,000 we have. At $1,360,000. Definitely out, sir. Going again. $1,360,000. Definitely out, sir. Bids with you, sir. Cheap buying in Grange, sir. $1,350,000. We'll take that. $355,000. At 355 with a 1 in front. At 365, beg my pardon. At 365, thank you. At 365 here on my left, it's against you. And 370 on the nod at 370. At 1,370,000. At 371. At 371 works. 372, thank you, sir. At 372 with a 1 in front. 74, thank you. At 374 with a 1 in front. At 1,374 we have 1,374. It's with you, sir. Against you, sir, and against you. At 1,374 we have. At 374, dropping the 1 now. Against you, sir. You out, sir? At 1,704, definitely out. 1,374 is with you, sir. You out, sir? Definitely out. No further bidding? No, sir. Bids with you, sir, at $1,374,000. Are we all done? Are we all silent? No further bidding on the first call. On the second call. We're getting serious now, sir. Sorry, sir. We'll take that and extend the same same courtesy to you, sir, at 1,374,500. 374.5 here. 375. Is that a dummy spit, sir? At 374.5, it's here. At 374 here. At 1,374 we have. All done. All silent. You out, sir? Definitely out. You out, sir? Thank you for your bidding here today at 1,374.5 on the first call. On the second call, if we're all done and we're all silent, on the third and final call, and sold to you, sir. Congratulations. Once again, congratulations to the successful bidder. Commiserations to the underbidders. Thank you for your bidding here today. On behalf of Clemic Real Estate, my name is Matt Smith. Good afternoon.